during this budget debate, as I mentioned before in the last budget debate, I lack a plan. I lack vision. What I see is a lot of reaction to current circumstances, a lot of plasters, but no clear-cut vision as to where we're going. I mean, I think it took us a year to get a governing program. Look, let me go back to my budget presentation in 2023 as former Minister of Romy. You had, the table of contents. You talk about the key achievements, the objectives of the departments, the priorities, the statistics, overall indicators as to where we're going, revenue generated, departmental achievements. But I haven't seen any of this during the last budget debate. And worse yet, now that the Council of Ministers had 6 months to go, correct certain things, here we are, I think even worse off than before. That's what's making me nervous about this budget, Madam Chair. Through you to the Prime Minister, can you please clarify the current status of the land situation across from the Little League Stadium, particularly regarding the citizen who was reportedly disadvantaged, in my opinion, during the resettlement process and not compensated? Prime Minister, I think I've asked you this question 4 times in 4 different meetings. And last time in the budget meeting, you mentioned that you would get back to me. I haven't received any word since then, so I would really appreciate a final answer in this current budget debate so that we can put the matter to rest. Because injustice anywhere is something that I will never stand for. I was a minister during that process. I highlighted the inconsistencies. Unfortunately, I'm no longer there to continue that fight, but I do believe that all the documents, all information is there. And as you echo as well, through you, Madam Chair, as a government is continuous, but we cannot be selectively continuous, Prime Minister, through you, Madam Chair. So can I please get a clear-cut response on that? Madam Chair, through you to the Prime Minister as well, this is another follow-up from the last budget. Can I please get the requests from NVGEBE, be it the board, the supervisory board, or the management board, requesting assistance from government to acquire generators? So not a statement. I would like documentation, albeit through the confidential route, if that can be provided. And I would like to know, has GB formally submitted such a request? Madam Chair, there are growing concerns about class inflation under the NRPB-funded programs, particularly regarding vehicle purchases, equipment procurement, and also contracted works. We've seen certain prices gone from, I believe it was 4 to 5 million estimated, to above the 10 in certain instances during the course of the years. Madam Chair, but I'll go back now to recent times. During the CC, I requested clarity on the vehicles that were purchased for the ambulance, fire and ambulance, so the Jeeps, the Hilux, and all those things. And I finally got a response after several attempts, where the breakdown from the Prime Minister, through you, Madam Chair, was a total of 7 vehicles were acquired. No, actually 11. 7 Toyota Prados. So I think everybody knows a Toyota Prado, right? 7 of them. A unit price, we can Google it, it's right there. A unit price, $111,000 US for 1 Toyota Prado. We go on, Madam Chair, to the Toyota Hilux, which 2 were acquired during this NRPB bidding process. Almost $114,000 US for 1 Toyota Hilux. Madam Chair, I asked them to offer me the best sport version, the highest version, and give me the price, and it didn't even reach $61,000. So through you, Madam Chair, to the Honorable Prime Minister, where did the NRPB get these numbers from? Because I heard a name mentioned of a company, and it didn't sound like Real Auto. Madam Chair, go on to the Toyota Hiace. $61,000 for 1. Can we please be provided through you, Madam Chair, a price comparison as to what it cost by Real Auto for these vehicles and what was paid by the NRPB? Madam Chair, when you sum up these 10 vehicles actually, we reach to almost $1.1 million US for simple Toyota vehicles, Madam Chair. I mean, they are very durable, but not $114,000 for a Toyota Hilux. Sometimes we talk about buy one, get one free. This is more like pay for two and get one. Please, through you, Madam Chair, I would like some clarity on that point. If the Prime Minister can confirm the accuracy of these prices and also explain the procurement process and how the value for money was assessed by all these consultants that we bring in, because all of a sudden the people of St. Martin are no longer qualified to be consultants, and we give them the small jobs, but we bring in these highly qualified consultants and they allow us to pay $114,000 for a Toyota Hilux pickup.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, Com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
Fashion. Madam Chairlady, today I feel a real sense of responsibility, not only to speak about the national budget, but to fight for the future of this country, a future that I fear is at risk if we do not make the right choices today. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing under the same circumstances and expect a different result. Today, I advocate for change. The budget before us is a reflection of our government's priorities, their values, and their commitment to the well-being of our people. But, Madam Chairlady, I must express my deep concern that this budget, in its current form, falls short of the bold vision we need to tackle the changes facing our nation. But before I start, I would like to address some of the murmur and that of what I consider threats: the right to vote, your conscience. And I do not care what others think or believe. If you are not doing what you should be doing to better this country, it is my job as a member of parliament to call you out on it. I have always tried to be positive and bring ideas on solving problems for the challenges in our country. I have asked many questions in the previous budget meetings to only be answered with promises. We are working on this and we are working on that. Madam Chairlady, if I, Francisco Alberto La Cruz, an elected member of this parliament, believe that this government is not willing and able to bring this country forward, then it is in my right to bring a motion to the minister of disapproval or a motion of non-confidence. A motion to send home a minister passes in parliament and needs a majority of all elected members here in parliament. The choice to send the people back to the polls lies in the hands of the Council of Ministers and directly in the hands of the Prime Minister, whom calls the meeting and delivers this letter to the governor. So, the social media bliss will not and does not work with this member of parliament. As long as I see things are moving in the right direction, you will not see that from me, but from the point that it doesn't, I will be the one to bring it. Silence. Wow. So, Madam Chairlady, I'm going to start with the state of our country, talking about the rising debt, the weak infrastructure, and the unmet needs of our people. Our country starts at a crossroad where the weight of rising debt, crumbling infrastructure, and unmet basic needs threatens the foundation of our economy. The cost of living is soaring, unemployment is high, and our social services are underfunded. The government's response, while well-meaning, seems insufficient in the face of these overwhelming challenges. Madam Chairlady, through you to the ministers, our national debt continues to rise, and we are now borrowing more and more and more. While borrowing can be a tool for development, without a clear strategy for repayment, we risk strangling our future with the burden of excessive debt. And again, I say, insanity. The lack of new, not burdening our people, revenue-generating measures. And I'm going to repeat, the lack of not new, not burdening our people, revenue-generating measures. What I'm particularly concerned about, Madam Chairlady, is that this budget contains no real new revenue-generating measures. The government continues to rely on the same old sources of income, taxes, or even implement old ones never implemented before that made no sense then and still not now. But our revenue base remains narrow and increasingly vulnerable. Looking at the political atmosphere in the US, I suggest that we take this serious. We have missed an opportunity to diversify our sources of income and to create a sustainable economic future. Our economy is changing and we must innovate in a way that generates revenue, taxing the roots of all problems in society to decrease, eliminate, and help solve problems created by these is a must. As I have mentioned before, for example, taxes on alcohol, with parts of the proceeding directly allocated to Turning Point and other establishments that work with our people who suffer from these diseases. Taxes on casino winnings, and part of that income allocated to helping our people with their addiction, and TIAT, with the control on this addiction. Taxes on sugar products, with parts of these proceedings allocated to building a state-of-the-art diabetes center on this island, which will not only help our citizens with early detention care, but also a strain off of SZV, all while opening a new market for medical tourism on this island. The same goes for taxes on tobacco products, and at least one cancer center on St. Martin. And the reason for this needs no motivation, because we all have either lost a family member or know someone very close that died from cancer in the last year. So it is easy. Like I mentioned before, St. Thomas has 5. We could get 1.
Are you SZV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SZV is cardless. Request your My SZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
SZV, yeah, your social health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, Com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
Showed me that the public sector often lacks a focus on efficiency and tends to make routine tasks increasingly bureaucratic. While I do support this government I do believe it's high time we address the inefficiencies in handling public requests. The delays in processing permits are unacceptable. Whether it's work permits, building permits, business licenses, or residence permits, the system is too slow and discourages economic development. St. Martin was once known for its business-friendly environment, but now our competitors hold that reputation, and we are falling behind. There's a serious lack of accountability and transparency in the permitting process because it simply takes too long. So to the Prime Minister, your calm and composed approach in communicating with the population is greatly appreciated, and I commend you for that. However, I think it's time we think a bit outside the box. I look at you not as a leader, but as a protector of our nation, someone who will stand firm in the face of external pressures and always put St. Martin first. By this, I mean defending and prioritizing our local businesses, particularly our contractors. Just like every other country in the world, we must protect our own. In the United States, affirmative action was introduced to support and uplift minority-owned businesses. Today, we need a similar mindset to ensure that our local companies receive the opportunities that they deserve. We must ensure that government and public sector entities engage local contractors wherever and whenever possible. These businesses pay local taxes, employ local workers, and remain committed to our community day in and day out. They are the backbone of our economy. I would like to know what steps are we taking to ensure our local companies get work in all minor and major projects across St. Martin. Yes, they may not be fully equipped to do the whole job, but they are well enough equipped to take pieces of the pie. So let's make sure this happens, Prime Minister, as what else are we here for? Aren't we here to ensure the progress and the livelihoods of our own? So again, my question, what are we doing to guarantee our local contractors work in all projects moving forward? I would also like to call on you in your capacity as the authority responsible for the VKS. I would like to in some way ensure that the VKS, via you, Madam Chair, to the Prime Minister, is properly insured and fairly compensated for their work. More importantly, considering expanding their role in national security. Why not transform the VKS into a government security agency, more visible in tourist areas, helping to reduce street crime and allowing the police to focus on community policing? This approach could create jobs, generate revenue, and enhance safety across the island. Instead of just shutting down such ideas off the bat, let's explore how we can actually make these things happen. We know crime continues to rise. Both residents and tourists are increasingly fearful. Per capita in St. Martin, we rank amongst the highest in the region for crime, a trend that is damaging our reputation and threatening our economic stability. It is to my opinion that we must act, and we must act bold. To the Minister of Romi, I understand that there is a staffing issue within the ministry. But my opinion, the timeline for receiving permits is becoming unacceptably long. If staffing is the main challenge, as Madam Chairlady mentioned earlier in the CC, why aren't we exploring options to bring in additional support? Currently, what is the time frame, through you, Madam Chair, to receive your permit from the time of submission? After 6 months of submission, can an individual start building without the permit? How are we planning to expedite these processes, as I mentioned in my opening remarks? Are we looking at digitizing this process so that our population can follow the movement of their permit? This, to my opinion, once again, development is what's going to drive this country forward. But to me, sometimes it's just sad that a permit for a small home is shelved. So I can sit and speak of all the problems in the crisis, but I just want to know what are the solutions moving forward. To the Minister of TEAT, through you, Madam Chair, I would like to bring to the attention of a persistent issue that continues to affect country St. Martin's digital visibility and international accessibility. Many international websites still do not list St. Martin in their country drop-down menus, while countries such as Aruba, Curacao, and other CARICOM members are properly included. St. Martin is either omitted entirely or incorrectly listed as the Netherlands Antilles, an entity that has ceased to exist for us since 2010. Some websites may reflect Dutch Caribbean, but this too is inconsistent and far from standardized. Additionally, our country code, plus 1721, is still not recognized or accepted on numerous global platforms. These discrepancies weaken our digital presence and hinder our access to online services, from basic registration forms to payment systems and communication platforms. I would kindly request that the Ministry of TIAT engage with relevant authorities, including BTP and any applicable regional or international partners, to actively pursue corrections on behalf of country St. Martin. Ensuring that our country is accurately and consistently represented online is essential to our economic development, international engagement, and our national identity. To add, this has been a topic of discussion in the past. Through you, Madam Chair, what is the realistic approach of initiating a driver's license fee to all foreigners as done in Anguilla? Furthermore, through you, Madam Chair, I would like the Minister of TIAT to remind the public how the ministry's priorities, guided by the R4 strategy, are tied directly to generating long-term economic growth and not just short-term visibility. As part of the R4 effect, this ministry seems to be investing in systems, not just slogans. So what are the plans in this budget to digitize or simplify business processes for local entrepreneurs, especially young people who are entering new industries like content creation? Can you share examples of collaborations with other ministries or sectors that will start to bear fruit in 2025? In your media appearances, through you, Madam Chair, the Ministry of TIAT has consistently stressed the importance of data-driven planning. Can it be explained how data is now being used to determine policy direction in various industries? Through you once again, Madam Chair, can the Minister explain how this budget positions the ministry to move from operational firefighting to long-term transformation? Would the Minister agree that many of the criticisms regarding the Marketplace project conveniently ignore the interministerial nature of the initiative and instead unfairly assign blame to just TIAT, despite it being one of the few ministries actually communicating with the vendors? Can the Minister confirm whether there is any legal provision that compels her to violate contractual confidentiality to satisfy repeated political questions? And if not, why is the narrative being pushed to the public?